Hello and welcome to the Rebel Ballerina Show. And I am your host, Lisa Loree, the Rebel Ballerina. Stands to reason. I hope you're having a great day. I am a little bit nasally today. I feel like I've got some allergies going on. I apologize up front if I start sneezing and all that kind of fun stuff. And I guess it would be more fun if I threw in the New York accent with my nasal stuff going on, because then I'd sound so, well, New Yorker. But anyway. Oh my goodness. So, really exciting things going on for me. For one, I've been back in class a lot more regularly, and that's been really good, building up some good strength and all of that. So that's very fun and very hopeful for the goal that lies ahead of me. But the other side of that is writing, and I haven't been writing for probably close to a year of really writing. And I just stepped back into that a few days ago and over the weekend. So that's been super fun because that's something that I've been really wanting to uh, get back into, obviously. Um, Needing to get back into, obviously, because I do need to get this book published at some point. So, what are you doing? So, I'm asking my producer what in the world he's fiddling with, and it's very distracting. So, anyway, oh, always an interesting time. Nevertheless, I have been writing and it's been really good. And it's like really starting to come, which is fun. And if anyone out there is a writer, and I never thought of myself as a writer, but I guess I am, which does make sense because you know what? In school, I always excelled in English and literature and that sort of thing. So, I mean, it's like, okay, because this also explains why I'm not a mathematician. Anyway, the writing has been coming and it's been really good. And there was something that struck me just yesterday when I was writing, a correlation that I made literally as I was writing out the scenario that I was describing for my readers in my book. And this is my full book, the Rebel Ballerina. And just going through a certain scenario and it like I just had this revelation of something that would be happening in the future that was very similar. And it was like I was getting some warning signals, but two things. I didn't pay attention to those, but also because I didn't know what those warnings things were. I mean, I kind of did, but I didn't go through with it. So, as a fawn, we have this horrible habit of turning off our intuition. And then it comes back to bite us big time. And that's exactly what was pointed out as I was writing this particular situation and seeing the similarities between something that happened 30 years ago and then something that happened 10 years ago. And in those 20 years, I still persisted in turning off my intuition, even though I knew I was seeing red flags, right? We all know what red flags are. Danger! This isn't good. Something's going on here. Something's off. It's not going to end well. It's not serving all. And so I just started thinking about how that is such a huge part of the fawn response pattern. When we're kids and it starts to develop, we have to turn off the intuition because our intuition is screaming at us, but yet there's nothing we can do about it. We can't just leave the situation, um, even though you might try. I did at one point, actually, really funny. My parents loved to travel and did a lot of traveling. And of course, they left me and my sister and my brother at home. My brother was older by this point. He's 10 years older than me, so he wasn't even at home. But they would leave my sister and I at home while they gallivanted. Anyway, we had this one woman that would come and babysit for us and be there, this whole time, a week, 10 days, 2 weeks, whatever. Her name was Hazel. And she was terrible. I mean, she was just terrible. Anyway, I don't know if I should even describe it. Just an old lady with a really bad attitude. I don't know that she even liked children. So what she was doing, taking care of them, me and my sister, I have no idea. But that's who we had. And at some point during this one particular time that she was with us, I decided, that's it. I've had enough. I'm leaving. And I start walking. Now, mind you, I grew up on a vineyard. So walking to a neighboring house of people I know, that was like a good half a mile away. And so off I went. I was going to go. And my best friend, that's where I was probably going, because I think I was maybe 10 at the time, 7 to 10, something like that. She would have been the logical place I would have gone to, my best friend. And that was definitely a good, probably 2 miles away. That didn't matter. That's where I was going. I was going somewhere. But sure enough, someone, I'm assuming it was Hazel, or maybe she called my brother, or I don't know. Somehow I ended up back home again. I don't really remember. I just know that I left. Now, the funniest part about this story is not that I tried to run away, even though I was following my intuition at that point. The funniest, as in not ha ha ha, as in interesting, is that she was fired and never asked to work for my parents again and watching us. But not because I had had enough and I ran away. It was because she parked her car in our garage. And my dad was livid. It doesn't matter that our car was not parked there because it had been driven to the airport. He just didn't want her to park in the garage. So that also is a little bit telling of some red flags of certain mannerisms or the way people operate, especially if they have some narcissistic tendencies or are plain old narcissists. So I had a moment where I followed my intuition, and then of course it was stifled because I was a kid, can't do that. I didn't get far. And that's how it is with kids. We don't have really many options. We don't have a job. We have no way of feeding ourselves. And if you're really young, you really don't have any means of doing much of anything for yourself. So there it is. There's where the pattern just really ensues, because we kind of have to turn off those intuitions, because you either go crazy listening to them knowing that you can't do a thing about them, or you just start ignoring them. And unfortunately, that ignoring strengthens. We get really good at it. We practiced it really well. And unlike the phrase, practice makes perfect, it sounds good, but it's not quite right. Practice does not make perfect. Practice makes permanent. Now, you can have perfect practice that makes perfect. That would make sense. But the reality is practice makes permanent. And I have verified that within my own body, but also in other students that have come to me, and they have had to retrain. And I'm like, serious redoing, undoing of all the bad that they practiced really well permanently, right? So we're having to unpermanentize. Is that a word? We're having to undo all of that and then move forward. And that takes a ton of time. So practice does not make perfect. It does make things permanent. And we become entrenched in this permanent way of ignoring red flags, ignoring intuition. And that is a huge part of why I'm even writing my book, is to point these things out. Because I really, really want to help people who, no matter where in the course of your own scenario you are, I really want to help you avoid the serious depression that I was in for quite a while. It was bad, really, really bad. And I'd love to help put a halt to that path and help you get onto a much better path. And I have a much better path, and that I'm actually living now. And it's extraordinary. And seeing the contrast, it's like, oh, if you only knew how things really could be. And so that's part of the reason I'm writing this book. And in so doing, it's pointing out some of these issues, like ignoring red flags. And as I write my book, I am explaining situations, and I'll say, insert red flag right here. Or I will say, this was, my intuition going with a red flag right in front of my face. And I see no red flag. I see no red flag. And yet, in this particular scenario that I'm talking about, it was small. It was a small situation, seemingly small situation 30 years ago. And yet, 10 years ago, there was a similar, not identical, but a similar and much more severe repeat. And it dawned on me as I was writing this out. Hadn't thought of it, didn't make the correlation at all until I was writing this out for my book. And I was like, oh my God, that was some serious stuff that I chose to ignore. The problem is, because we get so entrenched in this ignoring of red flags, once we're adults, we continue. And that's the problem. We continue because it's become a pattern, it's become a habit, because we have practiced it so very well, permanent. So undoing it is not an easy thing, but it is doable. It's not impossible. It's entirely possible. I am such living proof that there are so many things that are very possible, very possible. And the probability, not just possibility, the probability of you having a way better life is extraordinary. And I, as well as lots of others, are living proof of this. And that's part of why I'm writing this book. So as I was going through this thing, and I made that connection just yesterday, never thought about it this way before, I was reminded, wow, the red flags. So if there is anything you can do for yourself today, as an adult, please start tapping into the red flags and not ignoring them. Listen to your gut. There's so much that we actually intuitively know. There's a connection that we have. I think of it as the universe. It could be to you. You think of God's voice. The stillness, and you hear it, but then you ignore it and don't go with it. Well, that's a problem. That's a real big problem, because we are cutting ourselves off at the knees. We're making it so much harder to have the life that we were actually designed to have and to live and enjoy and create and have fun. That's what this life is really all about. Believe it or not, it's not about this whole, well, you go to school, then you go and get a degree, and then you go get a job, and then you get married and have a family and blah blah blah, and then you come to retirement and, well, there you go, you did life. That is a pathway or pattern or something that, has been largely devised. Um, but in the real essence of living, joyfulness, fun, being happy, creativity, doing what it is you know that you're designed to do. And again, that's an intuitive thing, something that you gravitate to and you just really enjoy, whether it's a hobby or if it becomes a career or it has been a career, whatever. It's that thing that just really drives your life and perks you up, makes you happy. It's that sort of thing. That's what this life is supposed to be. And of course, the people that come into your life as well. However, excuse me, the people that come into your life has everything to do with these red flags. Because as I described for you how I was running away from home because of Hazel, I also described my dad's reaction to her last time with us. And again, it wasn't that his daughter went running away, it was that she parked in the garage, which he had explicitly said not to do. And I don't know his reasoning for that because there was nothing sitting in the garage and, click the door, it goes open, click it goes back down. I don't know what the big deal was, but nevertheless, there is a big concern about who this person was in my life, my dad, and his behavior, and the fact that there were red flags. Definitely red flags. My intuition told me when I was about 2 years old that he really didn't want to have anything to do with me. And I was right. That's how I grew up feeling. And it was confirmed even later on by my mom in conversations and stuff. But, I started ignoring. I mean, what was I going to do with that when I'm 2 years old? I can't even really understand that. It's just, our feelings come way before words. So our body's awareness comes way before cognition of what something might mean. It's how we feel. And that's the driving force behind these trauma response patterns. Fawn, I believe, being probably the biggest one. I think there are many, many more of us who fawn than there are of the fighters, the narcissistic type. And there are also the freeze and the flight. I definitely know that those also are in the mix, but I feel like they're kind of secondary, and that the fight and fawn are much more dominant. And fawn being the most dominant from what I've seen. Not that I have scientific data to back me up. I haven't done actual research and I haven't, taken notes. I'm just saying, scanning the amount of people that I know, most fall under that fawn category, just like me. So it was just interesting to have this situation come around where I made this correlation of something that was 30 years ago and made me think, wow, what if I had not ignored that red flag? What if I even pushed back a little harder in that situation? What would have happened? How would have that changed things? And of course, we'll never know because that's all hindsight. And here we are today, and this is what it is. However, if you are currently in a situation, you may have that opportunity right now, real time, if you're willing to look at the red flag, if you're really willing to listen to your intuition instead of turning it off and going, I don't like this. There's something wrong with this. There's something that makes me feel bad or off or um, hurts something. It doesn't set well. Whatever fill in the blank that thing is for you. If you have the opportunity to actually look at that and start seeing these red flags for what they are, do it. Do it. Because you might very well be sparing yourself from an even more severe or just like or whatever. But in my case, it would have prevented a much more severe situation later on. I had no idea. So making that correlation just really opened my eyes to how important following those red flags or following your intuition, seeing the red flags, because that is your intuition's, you know, trying to say, hello, I'm standing here waving right in front of your face, Are you paying attention? And we're like, I don't see a red flag. No, there's nothing there. No, I'm gonna ignore it because it's too comfortable. Because then what if I do something, then it might rock the boat, and then what will happen? And no, it's too scary. Yeah, I did all of that. And I'll tell you what, living through what I lived through is far scarier than getting out of it. And I could have gotten out of it way earlier had I really been paying attention to the red flags and acknowledging them and then digging deeper into what my intuition was saying about those red flags. Again, for me, it's all hindsight. What can I say? What can I do? I am here now and I'm here sharing my story because I want to help someone else, whoever it is. It might be you. That would be awesome. I would be so happy to be something, a catalyst in your life that would help you from continuing down a road that you know is not a benefit to you, that there are just too many things that are not adding up correctly, and helping you into a different mode or pathway, something that really brings you, and allows you to be you at your best and growing and living your dreams and creating and sharing with the rest of us the stuff going on, the successes and failures. But I mean, because that's what this life is really all about, is sharing all of that together. So I'm hoping that that will actually be the case, that someone, a reader, a listener, a watcher, viewer, I guess we call that, not watcher. That's kind of weird. Anyway, a viewer, that this might, I don't know, do something and get your attention, right? Grab your attention. I'm really hoping, because why waste time? That's the thing. I know I can't say that I would change anything now at this point, in that I've already gone through it, and those things did help to create in me who I am today. However, there were some spans of times that I could have condensed that pain and that grief and that sorrow. And that's what I'm trying to see, if I can help people get through this stuff faster and onto the life that they really want, like I've been able to, in a quicker fashion, rather than it being, a decade or so. If we could do this in a few years, 1 year, ooh, wouldn't that be great? That would be really great. Part of that is paying attention to those red flags and not just dismissing them, not just buying into the, oh, I'm just being overly sensitive. I'm just, I'm making more out of it than what really is. whatever story we tell ourselves, the KLIE playlist going on in the mind that continuously keeps us small and always feeling bad or guilty or insufficient or too much. Oh, you're just too much. Maybe not. I don't know. But whatever it is, whatever is playing in your mind that's keeping you from seeing those red flags and then digging into the intuition behind them, well, it's time to start changing something up, right? Because continuing on that path is going to lead to disaster or more disaster, or if anything, just a feeling of inadequacy. That's not what we're here for. We're not here to feel inadequate. We're here to have joy and to create and to share and love life. That's what we're here for. So please have an awesome day. If you happen to see something waving in front of your face, hopefully not literally, that would be weird. You'd better pay attention to it if it's literally waving in front of your face. But metaphorically speaking, if it's waving in front of your face, don't ignore that either. Because there could be something big that needs to be taken care of, like right now, before it becomes even bigger and worse later. So have a fantastic day. Be on the lookout for those red flags. Start tapping into your tuition. Start investigating what all that means. And help yourself live the life you're actually supposed to be living and enjoying. I'll see you next time.